Welcome to our next edition of Turning Your Body into a Powerhouse. Now, hopefully you've been following along, but if you haven't, let's just pause here and let me ask you, Bersabeh, why are we investing so much time in this topic? Why is it important to turn your body into a powerhouse?
Well, because you need a clean, clear vehicle to be able to pretty much pursue anything you want in this physical life.
And also to be a clear conduit for God or for the greater power.
Sure.
Now, can I just drink water and eat some healthy food? Is that all that it takes?
I wish. Not exactly.
So why does it take more than that?
Well, because this is a complicated system that I don't even think science has completely figured out yet.
True. I want you to get into the dark side of it.
Oh, to the dark side of why we have to do this?
Yeah, why it's so hard to turn your body into a powerhouse. Is there a dark side that is keeping us, doing its best to keep us from doing this?
Yes, to keep you stuck. I'm not exactly sure what you want me to hit here.
Well, do the powers that be want you to be powerful?
No, I think that's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And are the powers that be, let's call them, doing everything possible to keep you from being powerful?
Yes, or else we wouldn't have to be doing these episodes.
That's right. That's a good point. So there is a collective energy, if you will, that is working to keep you limited and stuck. And it deals with your mind, it creates fear, it deals with your body. Mm-hmm. And when your body is toxic and it's not a powerhouse, personal development and a lot of spiritual development tends to say, well, change your thinking, change your world.
Man.
Nah, why does that get a buzzer?
Change your thinking, change your world, then everybody would have done it.
That's right. It's much more complicated than that because it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to change your thinking and to think clearly when you have a toxic brain, which is part of your body. And so hopefully that makes sense to you. And that's why we're investing so much time here in all these episodes. So what we'd like to talk about today, real quickly, is kind of a complicated subject. You've heard of some of these things, and you maybe haven't heard of others. But we're going to encourage you to limit plastics, to limit phthalates. How do you spell phthalate?
It's P-H-T-H-A-L-A-T-E-S.
Oh, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
I did have notes.
Yeah. And also phthalates, which will tell you what it is. And so plastics, phthalates, and microwaves, which you're probably very familiar with unless you're highly unusual. Now, plastics and phthalates are detrimental to your body. And we're sure you know what plastics are. But if you don't, then if you don't know what phthalates are, they basically are any group of esters of phthalic acid that are widely used in manufacturing plastics. So the acids that manufacture plastics, and also as synthetic additives in, drumroll please, perfume and cosmetics.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right? These,
oh, no.
And we won't suggest to you that there's intentional reasons for putting these things into the containers for your food and into the things that make you supposedly smell good. But if there were, it's very sinister and it's very sneaky. These chemicals have been linked, phthalates, to reproductive and hormonal abnormalities in humans.
Bummer.
Hormone abnormalities. Now, what do we know about, for instance, testosterone in young men these days, Bersabeh?
Well, that's their drive. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, yeah.
But what do we know about the levels?
It's dropped dramatically.
Dramatically. We have a medical professional that we work with who deals in hormones, and he tells us that young men in their 20s have hormone levels of men in their 60s. And that's pretty frightening because the hormones do decrease as you get older. So there are a lot of negative long-term impacts from phthalates. Chronic exposure to phthalates and plastic during product packaging or delivery adversely influence the endocrine system and the functioning of multiple organs in your body, which has a negative long-term impact on the success of pregnancy. Look at the birth rates. They're plummeting.
Sure.
They have negative long-term impacts on child growth and development. They have negative impacts on the reproductive system in both young children and adolescents. Now, here's something that might be surprising to you, but if you think about packaging, it might make sense. Where do we often find phthalates and plastic byproducts, Bersabeh? In what kind of food products?
Dairy products.
Dairy products.
Seafood.
Seafood.
Oils.
Oils are found to have high levels of phthalates because they're contained in plastic containers. So think about that. It might cost a little more to buy glass, and it probably does. But if you roll back the clock several decades, we didn't have these plastics as containers. And it seems like they're more efficient and effective, but they're also extremely detrimental. We also find them in a lot of products like children's toys, for those of you who have kids, medical devices, furniture. I knew a person once who left the plastic covering on their sofa. Well, I wasn't talking about in their car. I was talking about on their sofa. Have you ever met
Grandma?
one of those people like Grandma who leaves plastic covering on the sofa to preserve it? Preserve it for what? I'm not sure, because it looks horrific in the near term. But nonetheless, phthalates, plastics in furniture, PVC plumbing, vinyl flooring, wall coverings, detergents, household cleaners, food packaging, deodorants.
Yikes.
All contain these things. Now, you say, well, James, how do we know, James Bersabeh, how do we know if things have phthalates in them? Well, they show up on the list of ingredients as listed as DOP, DBP, and DMP, if you care. Which you should. Another really concerning issue is microwave ovens. Now, we suggest you avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
And that might seem like a stretch for you. 95% of American homes own a microwave oven because it seems like it's pretty difficult, maybe impossible to do without the microwave. Now, we're here to assure you that it is possible. How do we know that it's possible?
We don't use it.
How long have we lived in our current home?
Almost 5 years, I believe.
At least 5 years.
Sure.
And it came with a microwave. Have we ever turned it on even one time?
No.
No. Well, we had guests that came to the house once.
Turned it on once.
And they turned it on.
Smacked his hand and turned it off.
Because she just operates that way. And I left the room when he turned it on. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. Because according to Medical Daily, you may have healthy food products initially with healthy ingredients and low calories. But the way you cook your food directly affects the amount of nutrients that your body consumes.
Yes.
If your body doesn't get a deep level of nutrients, it's not going to have a deep, broad, powerhouse kind of performance. And I hope that makes sense to you. These common household appliances can significantly zap the nutritional value of your food and your health. And what research has proven, again, according to Medical Daily, is that it leaves you susceptible to developing health complications due to continuous microwave use, which begs the question. Here's the question for you. Is convenience worth sacrificing your health? What would you say, Bersabeh?
No.
No. We would suggest no. Also, Dr. Joseph Mercola states that the water molecules rotate rapidly in the microwave. Any moisture, any water in the food. And in the food at high frequencies, which creates molecular friction that heats up your food. It's the rotating rapidly of the water in the food that rapidly heats up your food, the friction. This causes the entire molecular structure in your food to change. As a result, it diminishes the nutrient content in the food. There's more. Would you like to hear more about
Sure.
that? Furthermore, microwave heating creates the loss of vitamin B12
Wow.
in foods that have high B12, like beef, pork, and milk. It decreases. So if you throw a bowl of oatmeal in the microwave with milk,
It's done.
B12 is gone. It decreases the amount of B12 in beef, pork, and milk. And the results of study upon study show that there are 30 to 40% loss of vitamins with any food that receives microwave exposure. 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
Now, if you have kids, this might be a tough sell for them, depending on how you've conditioned them. If you have children, powerful bacteria-fighting agents in breast milk, for those of you who have really small kids, are also destroyed by microwave heating.
Yeah.
So if you throw it in the microwave, huge amounts of nutrients are killed, stunting the growth of the child. Microwavable foods are found to contain toxic chemicals such as BPA, polyethylene terephthalate, which is also called PET, benzene, toluene, and xylene. It's pretty good that I can pronounce those words.
Yeah, mine is like and
here's what's important. Microwaves create these chemicals, and you might not remember all those, but all of them are detrimental to your health. So basically, microwaves create detrimental health chemicals. Now, plastic containers. Let's say you throw food in a plastic container into the microwave. Some microwavable foods come in plastic containers.
Mm-hmm.
Those quick meals that are so healthy.
Sure.
They might start off healthy. Maybe that could be questionable. But when you heat it in a plastic container, these microwave meals have been found to release carcinogens into the food, also being consumed by your body, along with other harmful toxins into the food, and then again absorbed by your body. Now finally, actually next to final, Swiss clinical research found that the blood changes in individuals, your blood changes when you consume microwaved milk and vegetables.
Wow.
Your blood changes.
That's wild.
The frequency of radiation emitted by microwave ovens is very detrimental. And remember when I mentioned that this guest turned on the microwave in the kitchen and I left the room? And I did my best to pull Bersabelle away too, but she was too busy trying to turn it off. Even when you're just in the vicinity of a microwave running, the frequency of radiation emitted by the microwave is extremely detrimental. My father, God bless his soul, God rest his soul, died of Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother discussion. But they had a microwave over their stove. Maybe you've seen this. This is kind of how our house is set up. And he would come every morning and put his microwave food in the microwave. It was about at head level. And he would stand there and watch it rotate every single morning. And therefore, his poor body and brain were being absorbed by the frequency of radiation emitted by the microwave.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely detrimental, even just in the vicinity when it's running. A study conducted by Dr. Magda Havas of Trent University found the levels of radiation emitted by a microwave, get this, affect both heart rate and heart rate variability.
Yikes.
Do you remember what heart rate variability is?
No.
It's would you like to know?
Yes.
It's the degree to which the heart rate raises up to max and how quickly it can come back
Yikes.
to set point. So it detrimentally affects heart rate variability. So this is in no means meant to be totally comprehensive. We could go on, but we're not going to. Our intention is that it gives you a heads up and possibly makes you pay more attention to what modern society is thrusting upon you. When you do this, when you pay attention, you don't have to pay with pain.
Sure.
When you pay attention, you can begin turning your body into a powerhouse to perform in the physical world as well as to perform in the spiritual realm as well as a conduit for greater powers. Hopefully it's been helpful for you.
And uplifting as always.
And uplifting. And, well, to be educated is uplifting.
It is.
You know,
it is.
To be aware is uplifting.
Yes.
Because there's so many things that we're not aware of.
That's true.
So now you're aware, and now you get to choose what you're going to do with it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
God bless you.
Bye.
We'll see you.